Welcome everybody to this new video on Outriders. Today we will be going over the Techomancer class. We'll start with a brief overview of what the Techomancer is. The Techomancer is a long-range support and gadgets class, meaning you have a lot of skills revolving around turrets and your basic support skills for teammates and whatnot. So you have your melee skill, it deals 69 damage and inflicts freeze on all enemies within a small radius. Healing mechanic, basically, as the Techomancer, you will recover a portion of the damage you deal as health. So as long as you deal health damage, whether that's shooting, if you're shooting an enemy, as long as it's health damage, you will be getting that health back. Increase long range weapon damage by 15%. It increases skill leech, which is your life steal basically, by 15%, and weapon leech by 15%. So again, your weapons give you extra health. So that is a brief overview of the Techomancer. I will get back into this here in just a minute. Let's go look at the skills. So in the demo, you have access to the first 4 skills. Your first one that you get is shrapnel. You throw a proximity mine, it explodes for 243 damage and interrupts skills of enemies caught in the blast radius. Basically, you can, if you know, say you go into an area and you get a bunch of guys charging you right away, throw this in front of you, duck around a corner, the enemies will charge you and it goes off and catches them by surprise or whatever. It's really easy if you have to kind of retreat, toss one behind you, run around a wall, you're good to go for a little while. Oop, pardon me, hit the wrong button there. Oh, I can't get my shit together today. Alright. Here we go. Second one is cryo turret. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a turret, you toss out a turret, it deals 7 damage and inflicts freeze onto enemies. The turret's health depletes slowly over time when it takes damage. And what it doesn't say here is that turret actually draws aggro. Majority of enemies, the second you toss this turret out, as you can kind of see in the video there, automatically aggro onto that turret. So if you're taking a lot of heat, you can just toss this thing out and most of the enemies, if not all of the enemies, will aggro straight onto it, which is great. It'll give you a little cover, you can kind of get some of your health back. Perfect. I really do enjoy this turret. Pain launcher is your third one. It's just a massive barrage of missiles that deal 70 or 57 damage and interrupts. So with the Techomancer, you actually have 2 interruption skills. You have your mine and the pain launcher, which is really nice for soloing bosses. You can continuously interrupt them. Also, though, it is a problem because they do build up immunity very quickly. So you have to be kind of wary of that. Your 4th skill is Blighted Rounds. This works kind of in the same way as the I just forgot the class name. The Assassin class. Trickster. Pardon me for that. The Trickster has these rounds, basically anomaly power, and it slows enemies. These inflict toxic, and the toxic gives off 50% of damage to enemies within a small radius of it. So Basically, you shoot one enemy in the middle of a large group, it kind of spreads to all of the enemies and does tick damage to all of them. I found it not so very useful. Um, it just it didn't seem to do like if you shot one person, that person did like they went down really easy, but everybody else kind of just it wasn't very noticeable. So I find having your traps and the pain launcher way more effective per se. Now, if you're in co-op, I could see where these might be more effective than having, say, the shrapnel or maybe even the pain launcher. But as for soloing, I think having your interrupting skills and this trap definitely better than having uh, the toxic rounds. Now, going into the actual class setup of this. So you can see we have Pestilence, which, as it sounds, it deals with most of your ordnance, and you get a lot of sniper mastery and whatnot from it. And it's a lot of long range damage. Here you get increased magazine size because snipers in this game, they normally don't have more than about an 8-round mag from what I've found so far. So that's always a good thing to have 50% more ammo. And your last skill is for your decay skills. Your tech shaman is again has to do with your turrets, and you get a lot of life from this middle tree here. Last skill is overclocked. All your activating your gadget skill increases your anomaly power, weapon damage, and weapon damage by 40% and for 10 seconds. And for 10 seconds, upon losing all health, you will receive a second chance to return to the battlefield with 50% health. This could be very crucial for high-end soloing. Like, I see this kind of being the way a lot of solo players go at the end of the game stuff. Like, if you're trying to do solo runs at the end, depending on what the end content looks like, I could see this being a lot of what they use. Because it's really helpful. And also, this, using a gadget skill increases all healing received by you and your allies by 30% for 7 seconds. So, equip lots of gadget skills. Once you pop one, you get all your healing is increased, and then you also have these two skills that will play and tie into that. Again, a lot of in-game content here. For the Demolisher, it's kind of you get a lot of ordnance skills, you have a lot of anomaly power upgrades. This is kind of more of your, I would say, more of your co-op class, because you get a lot of resistance. So when you're co-oping with people, you don't have to worry too awfully much about, are you spaced out from the enemy? Do you have a place to hide? That kind of stuff, you have other people to kind of take aggro for you, so you can focus more on dealing damage and whatnot. And so that's just a quick overview. Of course, things could change at launch, and I could be completely wrong, but this is just the way I see. And again, like I said, you don't have to specialize in completely one tree. You could come here, pick up all the way to here, get all the health boosts here, and then hop up here to your pestilence tree and pick up a bunch of your ordnance stuff. So, again, kind of mix and match, and you can reset trees. So, say you go into a boss fight, you get trounced, you're like, okay, come back out, realize I need a lot more health. Reset your tree, come back in here, get a lot more health, get some of your ordnance stuff if you need that for more interruption skills and whatnot, and boom, go back in, and you're good. As for weapons and stuff, sniper, definitely a must-have. Of course, it is a long-range class. You get a bonus to long-range damage. So I always keep a sniper as my primary, and then an AR or assault rifle as my secondary. You can, if you find a good SMG, put an SMG on here. It's not going to hurt. But I would stick with an AR as your secondary. Pistols. Everybody has a pistol. You just go with what you get. As far as gear, I go with stuff that has to do with my traps. So I have more traps, which gives me an extra shrapnel trap, which is very helpful. So I have 2 instead of just 1. I have Hail Shot. My cryo turret has increased damage, and that is increased by my status power. And status power is, let me show you here. If you hit R2, it'll bring up stats, so you can see all your player stats. Status power is right here. Status power is the increase to damage of burning, toxic, and bleeding, and the increased duration of freeze, ash, and vulnerable and weakness. Of course, I don't have any right now. I haven't found anything that actually upgrades that, so I'm not exactly sure what we're going to be getting that from. I do believe that is part of your class here, but I'm not sure. I can't say for a fact. My pants, I have this one, I just needed the pants. I don't actually have this skill, but Tools of Destruction, you can fire 1 more additional rocket. Yeah, okay. This one is for my ordnance, and for my pain launcher, every rocket deals 16 more damage, which is really nice, of course. And then again, for my cryo turret, extend the turret's duration by 30%, which is huge. If you're in a boss fight and you throw this turret out, it basically gives you a little more time of keeping that boss in one place, because this doesn't, again, the cryo turret doesn't interrupt, it just freezes, and it does freeze bosses. It's not as long as normal enemies, but it does freeze them, so it can allow you to move away, get around an enemy, and whatnot. So it's really helpful there, having extra time on this turret. And yeah, that's the general overview of the class, and I am now going to go. We're going to take on this last boss in the demo, which is the first boss of the main game. And I will show you there are some enemies up here, so we're just going to, if you hold it, you see I kind of get this grenade arch of where I want to toss it. Yeah, it just sits out there. Toss one there. Oops, missed my shot. So there you go. See this will freeze them. And it's not really, like I said, with this turret and these gadgets, it's not really hard to deal with these guys. Down I'm not sure what my turret is doing over there. Double whammy there. Toss that out real quick. See how that guy automatically aggroed on that turret? Pardon me. And it just allows me to run away, get a little reprieve. Pardon me. Now, coming up here, there are more enemies. Toss that there. Up there. And it does have a fairly wide range. Whoops. There's the key. We got a pair of shoes. Don't need those. Reload. Now, before you go on, there is
I'm seeing a lot of dead people. They look like they've been sautéed.
Shit. Be careful.
Remember to come over here and harvest this, because this is crafting material. You can't craft in the demo right now, but I do foresee that being quite a big part of the game. I am not going to equip that. Now, so this game has a kind of Destiny-esque where you have your armor level, but it also has the warframe of putting mods onto gear. So as you can see, my blue helmet has shrapnel, and it gives me the one additional mine. Whereas this green piece, it has more armor, and yes, it would help me survive longer, but do you want to give up the mod for that armor? It's kind of one of those, do I do it or do I not? Plus you also have to look at the white bar. See, I get a bonus firepower of 26 versus anomaly power of 36. Is it worth having more anomaly power? I think with the demo, it's not a huge deal right now, because you only go up to world tier 5. It's not overly hard, but it is a little bit of a challenge. And for me, I would much rather have my extra trap. Then coming up here, there is another chest right back up over here. Don't need a sniper rifle, and I don't need a shotgun. Alright, let's move on to the boss. Get ammo if you need it. Oh, that's another thing, by the way. With the blighted rounds, and I'm sure this is the same with the Trickster class, if you refill your ammo from one of these things, and like I'll show you here, I say I've got 21 bullets left. If I come over here and I hit restock, it automatically refills your mag. And when you reload, it takes away the blighted rounds. So if you just put in blighted rounds and you're going into another which you know is going to be a mob, don't restock, because it will take that away and you'll have to wait for that cooldown to come back up. A little tip there if you're using blighted rounds or the trickster ability with the
Jakob, I've reached the solar tower.
rounds.
I'm going in.
What are you seeing in there?
Some kind of weird electrical sparks flying everywhere.
Means you're getting close. This altar, did I not mention? He's a goddamn Electro freak.
You mean he lights up light bulbs?
More like flash frying everything for a mile. Look, I know you've always been able to handle yourself, but this son of a bitch is on a whole other level.
As of recently, so am I.
Wall there. Here. There's another restock right here if you need it. And now on to the boss. And we'll go ahead and skip this cutscene. Alright. I'm just going to preemptively throw a couple of those out. That over. Oh, and he's already doing this. Okay, run like hell. This will hurt really bad, and it slows you down. Ooh, that's bad. Thankfully, with Techomancer, I can instantly health back. Like that. Plus out. All those. See how that interrupted him? That out. And now, as you can see, it does freeze him. The problem is, now he is basically immune to my interrupt, so sadly, can't do anything to him right now. But it does wear off. Just set a couple more of these up. Move out of the way here. Whoops. Oops. That over with. It's not really much of a challenge with him. The biggest challenge is the fact that you can't interrupt him because you are constantly interrupting him, so he constantly has his little interruption, whatever you call it. And we'll just toss that over there. Toss that over there. Again. No, no, run. Don't want to get hit by that. Because that is almost certainly death. And there we go. That's the boss fight.
And so how...
Skip this cutscene.
I can't believe it. Outrider, what you just did. I've lost 100 men trying.
Don't thank me yet. You still got a war to win.
Not sure anyone's winning this goddamn war. But there's
Don't
something
forget
even more
your
important
chest.
you might be able to do. Come see me in my bunker.
Alrighty. that is a quick overview of pre-launch Techomancer. Again, if you're going to be playing solo, I would highly recommend keeping all your traps on and not bothering with these. If you do, or if you are playing with your friends, you can give this a shot, see how well. I do know there is a mod that is supposed to give take 40% of all damage by blighted rounds and disperse it evenly among you and your allies. So that is something you can look into if you do co-op and you get that mod. You can use it and see how well it works out for you. As far as classes go, I definitely think this is going to be a lot of late game solo runs here. Just because it's so much health. You get a lot of increased health, a lot of armor upgrades. This is more of your co-op play, and definitely a mix up here. So you could use this as solo, um, or you could use it for co-op. Either way. But I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like. It really does help me out. I really do appreciate it. If you want to hit that subscription button too. And I will catch y'all in the next one.